What's cracking, guys? Kian, Mansour here, back with another video, and in this video today we're going to be talking about the topic of Lookahead. Now I think Lookahead is covered in a lot of cubing videos on the internet, but I think there's a lot of misinformation out there, and I think my opinion on it is pretty unique, and I'll just be telling you what that is. So we're going to approach this in two different ways. First is with my experience, and the second is I'm going to explain my ideas in a more logical or sort of scientific way. So the first thing I'd like to say is that I haven't done slow solves for more than something like 10 minutes at a time, and yet my look ahead, I would say, is really good. I can track a lot of things in inspection, and I rarely pause during blocks, and my LSC is pretty fluid. And as I said, I don't really do slow solves, so how could it be that if the only way to improve look ahead is to do slow solves and look ahead as everyone recommends, that my look ahead is even existent? Well, in my opinion, I don't think slow solves are really necessary, and I think look ahead is something that can improve by itself without having to actually do any specific practice for it. The only thing I've done is just a bunch of timed solves, and I think what this has done is get me more used to turning the cube and looking for things. The only thing I've ever consciously done for look ahead is sort of actually imagine myself looking for pieces instead of just staring at what I'm doing. Now I'll try to explain how I think you should be practicing look ahead and how I've practiced look ahead. So if you turn slow and look ahead, what happens is that your brain and nervous system adapt to tracking pieces at that speed. So for example, if I turn like this without pauses and try not to pause at all in my solve, my brain is going to adapt to looking at pieces when I'm turning this fast. However, when I speed up to my normal speed again, I'm going to get confused because I'm not used to looking at the pieces like that. So then overall, say you take a week off and do slow solves, you're going to come back, and I don't think your look ahead is going to be that much better. And I think I did this for a while. Maybe I did like 2 or 3 days of slow solves, but I got bored, and then I came back, and I was even worse than before. So what I think you should actually do is, if you have a lot of pauses in your solve, maintain whatever TPS you have, and then just do a regular speed solve, but consciously think about tracking pieces. And then once you have minimal or a low amount of pauses in your regular solves, what I would say is, instead of trying to eliminate them completely by doing slow solves, that you actually increase your TPS. And even though that may seem counterintuitive because for your whole life you've heard turn slow, look ahead, my opinion is that if you turn faster, your brain and nervous system will adapt to that stimuli, and you'll see pieces moving around the cube faster. So even though at first you will have a few more pauses, over time your brain and body will adapt to tracking the pieces, and your look ahead will improve overall. Alright, so now I'm going to go more in depth into the scientific side of things. So to start off, most of us know and understand that eventually the faster you get at cubing, the slower your improvement gets, and the same thing goes for look ahead. The better your look ahead gets, the harder it gets to improve it. And this type of thing applies to a lot of different hobbies and sports, and it's been, people have tried to describe it using a number of theories, namely the law of diminishing returns and the law of biological accommodation, which is the one I'll be talking about right now. So that states that when you expose yourself to a constant or unchanging stimulus, eventually your body will stop improving and your brain will be so used to it that you just won't see any improvement. So this is the way I think it is with cubing. As I said before, your look ahead can improve by just maintaining your constant TPS, but eventually it's going to stop improving, but you're still going to have pauses. So at that point, the mistake people make is slow down their turning, but if your body's already accommodated for that TPS and you've plateaued your look ahead, slowing down your turning isn't going to make any difference because that's easier. That's an easier task, and your body's already used to doing that. Now, if you do the opposite and speed up your turning, your brain isn't used to doing that. So now you're going to not know what you're doing, and then you're going to be forced to accommodate again. And then once you've accommodated to that higher TPS and you plateau at that, then what do you think is going to happen? Now you have higher TPS, and even though you might have slightly more pauses, your solves are going to be faster. And if you think you still have to wait way too many pauses, you can go back to your old turning speed, and you see, well, oh, I have no pauses anymore. And then you can just bounce right back to that high TPS. And once you've accommodated there, you can increase your TPS even more. So yeah, that's the way I think about it, and that's the way I've been practicing. Recently, I've just been trying to move my fingers as fast as I can to sort of overload my brain and force that improvement. So that's it for the video, guys. If you liked the video, make sure to like the damn video, and I'll be seeing you guys next time.